Can we talk about what are some differences that from how your parents grew up versus how you grew up?
Very similar to, I think, my parents too. They grew up in that mentality. My mom started working at the age of like 12, I think. And she like sewed baseballs or just like balls in general. And so her and her family, they worked at a factory and that's what they did. My dad, very similar, started working at a very young age. And so it was very much like, all right, they weren't thinking about the future.
Or education.
Yeah. And that wasn't the priority either. Like education was not the priority. And so, and then fast forward to the way I grew up, my parents put a big emphasis on education and like they taught us to think about the future and what we could do. They taught us to dream big and not like stay in this little box of like survival, even if that was kind of like the way at home, you know, because my dad worked like 3 jobs for a while. My mom like still till this day cleans houses. So it's like, it's still that like survival mode I think is still in them.
Yeah.
But it's like even the way their focus has shifted throughout the years since we moved to America of like, oh, there's a future beyond just this.
Yeah.
For me growing up, you know, I never had a parent that pushed me to go to school.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing that kind of, for me, was hard for me. I was raised, I was like, go work, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, but never pushed me to do a school, to do better in school. And that's one thing, and it's not his fault or my mom's fault. I think it's because their way that they grew up is like, you work. And for me, it was that, you know, it was just, you know, for me, I was in special ed. I always had problems. I had things called dyslexia. But now seeing how God uses me through the Bible and through just reading, and that's one thing I can go with that. If I read the Bible, I can understand it. You know, now that's why I push the youth, say, hey, do good in school, you know, focus in school. Because I never had a leader or I never had that parent that pushed me to do better in school. So I think that's one thing that's, I'm trying to make a difference. Like you said, what are you trying to change or what are you doing different? Is me pushing these kids to do better in school, do something in their lives that there's something better out there for them.
We've gotten the opportunity to learn from each other's backgrounds and cultures, the good things and the hard things, and how we love God, how we love people. And so, where in your culture, where have you seen love demonstrated well, and where have you seen it also not done well?
I think in the Brazilian culture, like it doesn't take long for you to feel like family. Like it's just everyone's always welcome. It's always a party.
Quick.
It's like, oh, you're from Brazil, come on over. Like, you know, it's like, it's just like that instantaneously. And so I think that's how we show love really well. Yeah. But I think in the like immediate family kind of love, sometimes that love can be very strict. And so there's, I think, some fear in that too of like, I can't mess up. I can't let anyone down. Like I always have to live up to this expectation. And I always have to be this like sense of perfection almost. And so I think I've seen it in both ways where like, I think outwardly we love really, really well and anyone and everyone is welcome to the table. But I also think inwardly, like in our homes, sometimes that love can be so misconstrued or even like at times manipulative too of like, I love you, but you know, or like I love you. And so this is what is expected of you because I love you. And so sometimes I think that love is strong, but strong in good ways and bad ways too.
Yeah.
For me, in my house, my parents never said "I love you" to me, or until now, like recently, and it's kind of weird because like, okay, I love you too. It's kind of like okay, but I think that's one area that we show love, just showing back love to the family and to the people that we don't know.
My family is very similar. We don't tell each other that we love each other because I think that would be weird.
Yeah, right.
Right?
Oh
like
God,
it's just we don't do that, but we demonstrate in so many other ways, and I think we're just like we're not verbal in it, but we show it in the way that we show up for each other and the way that we care for each other.
The thing is right now with our family is that my brothers, all of us are my brothers and my sisters, now say I love to each other, and my little brother says I love you to their kids. And that's something that we've never seen, and that's what he changed.
Yeah, you could see that change.
He
Yeah.
sees that
Yep.
change when
Totally.
these kids like, I love you, and it's so awesome hearing your nephew saying I love you too, because our parents never said that to us, and him saying it to his sons and daughters is kind of awesome. You know, that's something that has changed in our family. That the word love means a lot to
Yep.
us.
That's
in the
beautiful.
culture. Yes.
For me, I was thinking how we're showing love. I thought about Willow Espanol, how people can worship in their own languages, and then also share their experiences and their struggles that they're going through,
Oh, yeah.
and give them hope that, it's something on the other side.
You're not alone.
Yeah, they're not alone, right?
Yeah.
We were in that series too. And in the family context, in my mom's side of the family, is a very big family, but I feel like when somebody is in hardship or in problems, we show up as
Yeah.
a family.
Yeah. Everyone's
Or
there.
everyone just like chip in or prayers or
Even people you don't know show up.
Yeah.
Like,
yes,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's
That
part
is
of the family. Yeah, that happened in my family. Like, oh, okay, nice to meet you. But
Yeah, it is awesome
people
when
show up
when
for
other people
each
show
other.
love to you that you don't, and I've seen that in my in this time of my season in my life, that I've seen love from other people that
Yeah.
I did not know, and they're like, this is how we're gonna show you love, and I'm like,
And the
really?
word "I love you," like you
Yes.
said, it's for, I don't know if all Hispanic, but yeah, I was not raised people saying "I love you."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I have
That's-
used it more with my daughters.
Yeah.
I hope that they feel the love. But with my granddaughter, yeah, she hears that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even like, I don't know if it's the same in like your cultures, but you have like that chia or that chew, like aunt or uncle that's not really your aunt or uncle, but they're
Yeah.
just
Oh, yeah.
always around. So they're not blood related
Yeah,
to
yeah.
you, but they are your aunt or uncle because they're just at every family gathering. They've seen you since you were little. Like even to that, it's
Yeah.
like people that aren't even a part of your family are your family.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure.
Nancy and Carlos, like you guys both talked about love and how, I mean, even in my family, like we just, the word, the phrase "I love you" is something that was kind of foreign, but it's changed. So let me ask this. What are some generational cycles or things that, you saw growing up that have changed today for the better?
Well, like you say, I was very much a single mom, so she was always working. I don't think she just have like the time or nothing, she was just making her living. But I think God has changed our hearts, just being, following Jesus, and just feeling his love. That's when you're going to want to give back, right?
Yeah.
So I feel the love of God right now more than ever. Since I moved here and I have seen God move so in tangible ways. And that's what would you want to give away. So I have a granddaughter now, so that's what I'm going to give away.
Yeah,
And
you want to pass
for my
that along,
daughter,
yeah.
yes. I wish I say I love you to my daughters more than maybe I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think like for me, I'm on the receiving end of that. Of like my dad, he would always tell me like my grandpa never told my dad that he loved him,
Okay.
And so I think my dad was always very intentional, or even like my grandpa never really gave my dad hugs, or he never really like spent time with my dad in that way. And so my dad has always been intentional with me and my sister of like, hey, I love you and I'm proud of you, and we hug each other and all that kind of stuff. It's like he never received that. And so he was always very intentional with me and my sister of like, but I want to give that to you so that there's not even a doubt in your mind that I love you.
Yeah.
And so I think I'm on the receiving end of that kind of generational shift and change of like my dad made it a point to make sure that we knew that he loved us.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like she said, your grandpa never showed love to your father, and that's I think where it was not my father's fault that he never said love to me. I think it was more of how he grew up, where there was no hugs or saying, "Hey, good job for what you did."
Yeah.
Never heard that in the house.
I think what we have talked to here, it's for all those moms and dad out there, it's very important, the word "I love
Yes.
you."
Yeah.
Yes, I think it
we
is.
think we show our kids that we love them because we're just, providing and doing everything that they need.
But the verbal piece
is very important.
Yeah, as long as the parents saying that to the kids nowadays, I think if there's parents out there that have not said to the kids "I love you," it's and there's some kids there in church, you know, they hear their parents say I love you, and so they're like, Mom, stop being weird. And I told them one time, hey man, I wish that my parents would say I love you to me, man. Take that you have it now, because later on in life, mom won't be there, dad won't be there, and you will love to hear the words love. You know, saying I love you. And I think that impacts a kid very tremendously. It would have maybe impacted me, you know, differently. But
One thing that has changed in my family, and this is very recently, is the value to rest. Like I don't know, I'm curious if this is like the same for, you know, for your cultures and for your families, but I mean, work is such a huge value, right? Like you got to work hard, and I think the Mexican community has been known as really hard-working people that just jump into anything. But the thing we lack is rest. We don't know how to rest. Like I've struggled with that, with finding rest and not feeling like anxiety to being just sitting down on the couch, right? And my family has found, I think, has found more value in taking a sabbatical, right? Taking a day of rest, taking time with family, and like investing in different ways, not just in the sense of working. As a church, we're in the series where we're talking about mercy. And Nancy, I love what you talked about, how you experienced mercy in your family. What are some ways that as a culture, as a community, you have experienced mercy, or you've seen mercy experienced in your communities?
Well, right now, when you say mercy, I can only think about the care center. I see mercy in the care center every day. Like, there's people here that are just opening their homes for multiple families at the same time, just so they can have somewhere to sleep. There are others that they have cars and they go and pick up different people to bring them at the care center.
They show up for each other.
They show for each other, yes. And I see mercy in our volunteers every day, how their love for these people, and they treat them so well. And in our church, that we're meeting these tangible needs for these people.
I love that we're a part of a church who shows mercy day in and day out for our guests at the care center.
Yes. For me, it's my dad. You know, my dad, he came to America and he didn't know the language. You know, my family didn't know the language. My dad worked like 3 jobs, and on top of that, a full-time pastor. And the amount of times my dad like has shown up for people and was met with anger, or in the grocery store buying groceries and yelled at because he doesn't speak the language, or his accent is too hard to understand. And yet he meets that person back with a smile and with an encouraging word, with an invitation to church, you know. That's just who my dad is. And so that beautiful picture of mercy played out every single day in my life, of like, you love people, and it doesn't matter the way that people treat you, you love people.
I think my dad was a person that even though what they did to him, what they you know, they did so much things to him, it's just he didn't care. He just loved that person again. And that's how we grew up, you know, showing mercy to others, that even though they hurt you, just love them back and show mercy to them. I think that's an awesome thing that I've taken from him.